stuck inside of my relationship? That's the conversation we're going to have here today on Relationship Thursday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Simp Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. Now, this is one that always hits me in a way that it's hard to talk to people knowing that they feel, or at least they've conditioned themselves to believe they're in a position where they can't get out. Monday we talked about how the formula for being happy, and we talked about LC, life conditions equaling your blueprint. In other words, your blueprint is how you think things should turn out. Your blueprint for any area in your life, whether it's weight, religion, spirit, money. I mean, whatever it is, your blueprint is how you think that should actually play out. And your life conditions means what's really going on, and do those two match? And if they match, you're happy. If they don't match, you're not happy. And the question kind of came up, well, where does stress come from, or depression? And where those actually show up is when you're in a situation, and this is where depression will start to set in, is when your life conditions don't match your blueprint. And here's the key: you believe there's nothing you can do about it. Whew, man, that's got to be a very tough place to find yourself, which brings us back to the whole part of this conversation, which is stuck in a relationship. This one is kind of hard for me to talk about in terms of from a spiritual perspective, because I know I've had people tell me that spiritually they can't leave their partner because of their spiritual beliefs. And again, I'm not here to tell people what to believe, what not to believe. That's totally between you and your belief system. It's just hard for me personally to ever teach anyone that when you're in a situation where you're being mentally or physically abused, because you guys have heard me say that before, mental and physical abuse, I'm going to tell you not to think of leaving, not contemplate on leaving, but to run. Yes, run. Get the heck out of there. Don't ask no questions. If you're watching a video right now and you're in that situation, run. Shut off. Shut this off. Go. You got to go. I'm just never ever believing that anyone, your human parents would never ever tell you to stay in a situation where you're being mentally or physically abused. So I can't imagine spiritually you've been told the same thing. And again, I'm not here, folks, don't beat me up for that. If you believe that to be true, I'm not here to try to change you and say that's not accurate. For me, I'm speaking from me and my personal beliefs, my personal views. I'm never, ever going to teach or believe that you should stay in those kind of positions. Because I don't believe anyone was put here to be abused. And to me, mental and physical abuse is just that. It's being abused, and I'm not going to tell you, but you should sit there and accept that. But anyway, that's one way of seeing it as far as one situation, but that's not the idea behind this particular conversation. This one is the people that feel stuck because the fact is they feel like they've put time in. I've been with this person for 5 years, for 10 years. I've invested so much time. I've invested so much as far as exterior things into the relationship. We bought a home together. All these different things that they believe that again, some people believe that's building relationships. And as you guys have heard me say, and I will continue to say, external things do not build internal. Internal is the conversation we're having here. And that's the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about your relationship. These are internal because they'll create the stress, the frustration, depression, sadness, etc. External things don't address those issues. Now, again, I know this is another one of people want to argue about. That's because people that say that don't know where to spend their money or whatever. Folks, money, put in the right perspective. Money is very important where money is important. Emotions, spirituality also, but emotions are important where they're important, like when we talk about being in a relationship where you have intense emotions towards an individual. Money can't buy that. Some of you have tried it and you've witnessed that you can't buy love. Um, but anyway, it's an internal issue that we're talking about here, and the external is not going to do it. The external may get a person to stay in the relationship for fear of losing those things, but you notice what I said. They're worried about the things. This is not a connection with you as a partner. So when you feel like you stuck in a relationship, figure out, again, for me, as I always say, how to spend this time and get to learn to love you some more. And then you'll figure out a way to get out of this situation because you'll realize you deserve better. It's kind of, you guys have heard me talk about young ladies, saying that they want the bad boy or the guy they can't get and all that. And I've shared that the reason you feel that way is because you haven't figured out your value and worth yet. And I know, again, people don't like to hear that, but it's real. When you understand your value and worth, your worth, you realize you're supposed to be treated well. They're supposed to make you feel good. They're supposed to, I mean, they can't make you feel good, as you guys know, only you have that decision, but they should do their part to try to contribute to helping you to feel good. And to be in a relationship where someone is trying to play games with you, which a lot of the relationship people are out here teaching you how to manipulate, how to outsmart your partner, how to create that desire in them by playing. Folks, I'm not here to play games with you, and I'm not going to teach you how to play games. You do need to add value to your relationship. In other words, don't take your partner for granted, but you don't have to do that by manipulating. Example, if you're a person that's got into a relationship and the person, that the reason they have this thing about dressing like a policeman or a fireman or whatever it is, whatever turns them on. Then every now and then do something like that. Or if you know that the thing that they loved was going to the movies, because you guys did that a lot, and now all of a sudden you guys don't go to the movies at all. Remember the things that attracted your partner. And again, this is not manipulation. This is because those are things that attracted them, because those are things that they enjoy. And so when you stop that, that's the reason you guys have heard me use the example of, if your partner loves riding a motorcycle, if you're not willing to marry someone that has a motorcycle because of later down the line we have kids, they can't ride their motorcycle, then don't date them to begin with. Yes, do not date them to begin with, because for the person that riding that motorcycle, that's a part of them. That's their way of releasing and enjoying life. You get them out of that, because you start playing the head game of where you have to be responsible. And I know some of you don't say, "What you mean the head game? It's real. You got responsibility." Folks, you can't stop living. You can't be a person that lives in fear of what could happen by those stories, because you guys know I said fear is not real. It's the stories that you wrote anyway. But you can't live according to these devastating stories that you wrote and let that stop you from actually living today. Because technically, if you do that, you're dead anyway, because you're not living. Life is about living. I didn't say be reckless. I didn't say go jump off of cliffs. I didn't say be one of them daredevils. You're jumping from one mountain to another on your motorcycle. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. Because if you get in a relationship with somebody like that, you knew that to begin with. Same thing. You shouldn't be in a relationship with them if you know somebody like that. But I'm just saying, if something a person loves, riding their motorcycle or whatever it is that they enjoy, remember, as I always say, it is not your job to change people. It is your job to accept them as they are. I heard a guy talk about that. Oh, people tell people accept people as they are, and it's like, if you're out here doing bad stuff or your life is not together, I have to accept that. You ain't got to accept anything. But if that's what they do, that's what they do. Nobody's telling you to be with a person like that. That's the decision you get to make if that's the way they are. When I tell and teach accepting people as they are, that means they are who they are. I accept that. And if you can't, and I didn't say agree, because you may not agree with what they do, but I accept you as you are. If I can't accept you as you are, then I shouldn't be in a relationship with you. So the people that have this conversation where they, and I'm talking about some top relationship gurus that are out here telling people that, hey, you ain't got to accept them as they are. Yes, you do if you want your relationship to work. Because the bottom line, if you can't accept them as they are, here's the key. Don't get with them. This is not about, again, I keep saying that. This is not about changing people. And that's kind of what they're saying is that if they're doing bad stuff, you don't have to accept that. You do, because they're going to do it anyway. You just don't have to accept being in a relationship with them. That's the choice that you have. You guys got it? So this, I know I'm going around in circles, but it's still kind of coming back to the same example of feeling stuck in that relationship. To me, I can't even imagine being in something that you feel stuck. I've picked up people doing the ride share that would have me drop them off. One guy had me, he was about 2 blocks away from his home, and he's like, man, he said, drop me off here. He said, I got to walk. I got to get my head together because I know what I'm getting ready to walk into. I maybe I'm crazy. I can't imagine being in a relationship like that. Not for 1 second. I'm there's no way in the world. But see, that would have been addressed during the dating stage that I would have got out. Not waiting till marriage. That would have been dissolved probably within the first or second date. Because folks, if you watch and listen to people, they'll tell you, well, really watch. They'll let you know everything you need to know quickly if you're paying attention. So anyway, bottom line here, just because you put in time, example would be if you had a pair of pants that had a hole in those pants and money was falling out of that and you realize that, is your conversation going to be, well, these pants have been around, they've been through so many things with me, and I've had these pants for 10 years, and so I'm going to keep putting money in those pants pockets anyway because I've invested and had too much time with these pants. No, you either going to try to sew up the pockets or you're going to get rid of the pants. You're not going to keep putting money in those pockets and letting them fall out and using that as a justification. If you're eating bad foods and you know they're bad foods, but you say you want to be healthy, you're not going to keep telling yourself, well, some of us do. You're not going to tell yourself, I'm stuck. I have to eat the pizza. Well, folks, if you stay there, you're going to stuck being unhealthy and not in the desired shape that you want to be. But that's a choice too. But the reality, and you guys know what I'm getting to by using that example, is if you want to be healthy, you're not going to continue to eat the bad stuff and use a justification. Well, I've been doing this all my life. Since I was a little kid, I've always eaten bad. So I don't have a choice. I'm stuck. I have to eat bad stuff. You're going to change your eating habits if that is your true desire. You guys follow? Same thing in a relationship. I don't care how much time you've put in turn. I don't care how much investments. I don't care that you bought a home together. And I shouldn't say I don't care because that's a bad way to phrase it. But what I'm saying is I will not allow that for me personally to make my decisions. If this is not working and you have two people that aren't willing to work together, folks, life is too short. It is too short. And the last thing I'm going to do is to every day come into a situation, see a person's face or think of a person and feel stuck and feel depressed and feel all those other things that I've attached to this person. And my justification is going to be because of the time that I've put in at this point. Folks, that has nothing to do with it. Again, this is about, in everything I share, it's about simplifying your life. It's about getting to that point where, like we said, where we get to that happy state of being, getting our life conditions to match our blueprint. And if you recognize that that relationship is not matching what your desires are, your blueprint of what a relationship should look like, Your life condition is not matching up. Folks, do not convince yourself you're stuck. You have to figure out different ways to get out. And I know some people will be, well, that's the financial breadwinner, or whatever, conversation you've used to justify it. One thing I've seen continuously throughout my life, when the desire is strong enough, which means you want to do differently, and maybe this person is a financial provider or whatever, but you just can't, I no longer can put up with this, guess what? Those people figure out a way. Because that's why you hear all the time, you got to figure out first off what you want. You got to be very crystal clear. The how-to will be figured out, but it's making that decision that I'm out. And don't ever, ever let anyone convince you you're stuck. And again, I don't want to tie this into the spiritual conversation, because I know people will have their justifications and all that. And I'm not here to say that's good, bad, right, or wrong. I mean, to each his own. I'm just saying, away from spirituality, my personal belief, I'm never, ever gonna feel like I'm stuck in any relationship that's not serving me. Because the moment that it is the moment that relationship, either the partner's gonna have to be willing to work with me, as I'm definitely gonna be willing to work with them to correct the challenges that we're having. But if I have someone that's not willing, folks, I ain't stuck. I'm never going to be stuck. Life is too short. And again, don't get mad at me if that's something you believe that you should stay. That's what you should do, because I'm not here to tell you what to do. But I'm saying, but don't let others convince you that you're stuck and you stay there. And again, your justification is because of the time that I put in, or the other things that I put into this relationship. I've been with them for so long. I know their family well. Their family's like my family. All those other conversations, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're not stuck. And that holds true for those of you in your job. And I've heard people say that, well, it pays my bills. Well, your bills had to be paid before you got that current job. You may have bills to pay, but you don't have to pay them from that particular job or that particular occupation. You figure out a way. As Robert Kiyosaki said, what are you doing for homework? In other words, what are you doing at home when you're away from work? Figure out something else. Turn off the TV and all the other distractions that aren't getting you where you want to go, and start listening to different things that will get you in the direction that you want to go, and you'll get unstuck. And I know you'll make the right decisions. And as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Run over to my app. It's Simplified You, the letter U, not the word U, the letter U, and it's simplified with the D at the end, and they're separated. Simplified You. You can get it at Google Play, or you can get it at the Apple Store. Download it. It's a free app. It gives you access to everything that I got going on. And folks, as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. That's really the whole idea behind this stuck conversation. Folks, life is too short. Don't ever feel stuck. Don't ever stay in a situation where you're feeling miserable. I can't imagine every day waking up in a situation that I do not want to be in. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.